The first time I noticed the antique porcelain doll staring directly into my soul, its vacant eyes followed me from across the deserted museum gallery at exactly 3:17 a.m. Every single night after that, the unsettling doll, supposedly bolted down securely within its glass display case, was found subtly rotated, its chipped face always fixed on my designated patrol path. My rational mind screamed faulty memory or a colleague's prank, but the sheer predictability of its new orientation, always just slightly different, began to gnaw at my sanity in the profound silence. 1 week in, I found a minuscule, almost invisible scratch mark on the wooden pedestal beneath its base, suggesting something was dragging it, not just turning it, creating a chilling new layer of mystery. I started checking motion sensors obsessively, reviewing security footage daily, finding absolutely nothing unusual, except for the doll's inexplicable nocturnal movement, rendering the situation increasingly inexplicable and terrifying. The museum curator dismissed my growing anxiety as fatigue, stating the doll had a long history of odd occurrences, but never anything concrete enough to warrant serious investigation or concern. Then one night, its little porcelain hand, which had always been clasped demurely, was resting on the inside of the glass. A faint, almost imperceptible imprint of dirt smeared against the barrier. I haven't slept properly since, constantly haunted by the terrifying thought that the doll isn't just moving, it's trying desperately to get out, and someday soon, it just might succeed. The ancient Egyptian sarcophagus was undoubtedly the most imposing exhibit, but when I found its heavy lid shifted a fraction, exposing just a sliver of darkness, my blood ran absolutely cold. Every subsequent shift was subtle, yet undeniable. A centimeter here, a few millimeters there, always revealing slightly more of the shadowy, empty interior that should have remained sealed for millennia. My colleagues joked about ancient curses, but the increasing smell of ozone and something akin to desiccated linen emanating from the slight gap made their dark humor ring hollow, utterly devoid of comfort. I started noticing faint, almost imperceptible hieroglyphic symbols appearing on the sarcophagus's polished bronze surface, symbols that certainly weren't there when I first started my rounds weeks prior. One terrifying morning, I discovered a small desiccated beetle, perfectly preserved, lying directly on the floor beside the massive exhibit, a species explicitly found only in ancient Egyptian tombs. The official explanation involved settling foundations or vibrations, but how could foundations cause fresh hieroglyphs or transport ancient insects from behind sealed, impenetrable stone? It defied all logical reasoning. Last Tuesday, the gap widened enough for me to glimpse something dark inside that was undeniably not an empty space, but rather a shriveled claw-like hand resting on the interior edge. Now, every creak and shadow makes me jump, realizing I'm not just guarding ancient artifacts, but unknowingly waiting for something profoundly ancient and malevolent to finally emerge from its millennium-long slumber. The enormous 17th century navigational map of uncharted oceans, usually pinned flat in its heavy frame, always had a new, inexplicable wrinkle or subtle bulge in a different section by morning. At first, I attributed it to humidity fluctuations, until I noticed the tiny ship models, fixed meticulously onto the map with invisible wire, were also shifting positions, indicating impossible movement. I started marking the exact location of the ship models with a nearly microscopic pencil dot each night, only to find them frustratingly off their initial positions by several inches the next day. The unsettling thing wasn't just the movement itself, but how the new positions of the ships always seemed to trace a coherent, albeit incredibly slow, journey towards an unknown, shadowy landmass on the map. I researched the map's history and discovered vague archival references hinting at a legendary cursed cartographer whose soul was reputedly bound to its perpetual, unholy charting of the unknown. One night, a faint, almost inaudible scratching sound seemed to emanate directly from within the map's glass, like tiny fingernails desperately trying to redraw the very fabric of its ancient geography. This morning, a new, meticulously drawn island appeared on the map, detailed with a skull and crossbones emblem directly where the lead ship model had finally come to its rest. I know with chilling certainty that the map isn't merely moving, it's actively seeking, revealing, and perhaps even creating places of unspeakable terror that exist only within its unfathomable, haunted parchment. The medieval suit of armor, the Sentinel, famous for its imposing stillness, was standing at a subtly different angle every morning, its empty gauntlet always slightly closer to the main hallway. Initially, I blamed clumsy cleaners or vibration, but the immense weight of the display, secured to a bolted pedestal, made any human manipulation during closing hours utterly and physically impossible. I started leaving a faint chalk line around its base each night, only to return and find the armor inches beyond the mark, its cold, metallic presence asserting a phantom autonomy in the silence. One unsettling detail was the minute scuffs appearing on the polished marble floor tiles, tiny, almost invisible crescent marks, perfectly matching the shape of its steel sabatons, confirming dragging. I even rigged a hidden infrared camera specifically on the armor, but the footage always showed absolutely nothing, only the ghostly silence of an empty exhibit, completely devoid of any visual evidence. The sensation of being watched became unbearable, especially when passing the Sentinel's alcove. I could almost feel its empty helmet tracking my every move through the oppressive, silent halls. 2 nights ago, I distinctly heard a faint metallic clinking sound echoing from its general direction, a soft, almost rhythmic scrape against metal, like heavy plates gently shifting. I dread my next shift, knowing it's not just repositioning itself anymore. It's actively moving, listening, and soon I fear it will fully step down from its pedestal to patrol these silent halls with me. The meticulously detailed 18th century shipwreck model, encased in its own glass ocean, always had a new, minuscule artifact scattered across its miniature deck every single terrifying morning. These were not random items. They were always tiny representations of something lost at sea, a miniature anchor chain, a fractional compass, or a minute, water-damaged cargo crate. I initially suspected a clever, obsessive prankster, but the museum security was impenetrable and the glass case completely sealed, ruling out any external human interference whatsoever. The oddest part was a faint, lingering scent of saltwater and decaying wood that permeated the air around the display each night, a smell that vanished completely by sunrise, baffling me. One shift, I noticed the miniature sails, carefully furled and secured, were subtly unfurled and billowing against invisible currents, as if the tiny ship was actively battling an unseen storm. I tried reporting it to my supervisor, who, despite my detailed notes and photos, dismissed it as museum charm or old building oddities, refusing to take my mounting terror seriously. Yesterday morning, I discovered a tiny, perfectly formed human figure, barely an inch tall, lying face down on the deck, surrounded by debris, eerily lifelike and undeniably new. Now the smell of brine is constant, and I fear the model isn't just recreating history, it's actively reliving its final tragic moments, and soon I'll witness the entire horrifying disaster unfold. The ancient tribal artifact, a rough-hewn stone idol with primitive, staring eyes, was undeniably facing a different direction every single morning, its vacant gaze unnervingly tracking my every step. This wasn't a gentle rotation, it felt like a purposeful, almost predatory shift, as if the ancient stone itself was slowly and methodically observing its surroundings, searching for something unknown. I started noticing faint, almost imperceptible grooves worn into the polished display pedestal directly beneath the idol, subtle evidence of consistent grinding movement over time, baffling explanation. The air around the relic grew perceptibly colder each night, an unnatural chill emanating directly from the stone idol, making the hairs on my arms stand on end, despite the museum's regulated temperature. Then came the whispers, faint, guttural sounds, seemingly devoid of language, echoing from the exhibit after midnight. A primal, unsettling murmur that seemed to call out from beyond the grave. My rational mind screamed exhaustion, yet the whispers grew clearer, sometimes almost coherent, uttering distorted, ancient phrases that resonated with an inexplicable, terrifying sense of dread. Last night, as I approached its exhibit, the idol's primitive eyes seemed to briefly glow with a faint, malevolent red light, directly tracking my every slow, terrifying movement. Now, the idol faces me no matter where I stand, and I fear it isn't merely moving, it's actively possessing the space, patiently waiting for me to succumb to its ancient, suffocating, primal evil.